Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky and I'm joined as always by the man who has spent all this week practicing his puppet show. Unfortunately, it was puppetry of the penis. It's Greg. How are you today, Greg? Do you remember puppetry of the penis? That was a thing. That was a big thing for a while. Yeah.
I'm not sure my old fella is up to any puppetry, to be honest. Okay.
No, you don't think you can contort it into different shapes and sizes and ways and make it do a little dance or anything? No.
Maybe sort of post-coitus. Definitely not. Definitely not just at rest, you know. Normal.
Post-coitus. Oh, it's a dying whale.
I wouldn't even go that far, but it's perhaps it's it could maybe pull off a couple of shapes, perhaps.
Right. How are you today, buddy? All good?
Yeah, very well, very well. I was just we're just talking about you're enjoying a cherry Coke Zero there, and we were saying how it's one of those drinks that like it's not going to be like your go-to sort of soft drink, but every now and again it's sort of there with drinks like Dr. Pepper or one that I'm quite partial to is American cream soda, and I noticed last week when I was in the supermarket that Canada Dry, who do like ginger ale and stuff, they've started doing a cream soda. So I've got and they're the little skinny cans like the one you're drinking. So I got one in. I got a couple in the fridge that because it's doesn't resemble Bar's American cream soda. Neither of my daughters have bothered to have a look at the label. They've just seen Canada Dry and thought, well, I don't want to drink that. And so it's been under a whole week and nobody's opened it yet, which is got to be a fucking miracle. Usually I would need to hide things like that at the back of the fridge. If I want a wee iron brew for myself, I've usually got to plank it behind like some beers or something where they won't find it, or I'll just get a message when I'm at work saying, can I have this iron brew? And you're like, I suppose so. Iron brew now here in Dubai is 30 dirhams, which is the best part of 10 it's 28 dirhams a can. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's the best part of 10 quid for a can iron brew. Is it? Well, no, it's not. It's the best.
I was going to say, it's like £4.
6 quid. No, but 6 quid, I think.
6 quid, okay.
Yeah.
I'm all out of whack. I couldn't even tell you what the exchange rate is right now, so I've no idea. So I better check that, actually, before I come in December. Just go mental spending money. Fuck it. Oh, wow, that is, Yeah, what am I here? I'm €1.30 for a can iron brew here. But there's only like 2 shops sell it, so...
Yeah, well, that's it. The only place you can usually find it here. No, 28 dirhams on today's exchange rate is £5.80 for a can of iron brew. Yeah, the only place I ever find iron brew here regularly is Spinneys. Spinneys always have iron brew, and they have either cans, 6-pack, multi-packs, or they have the sort of smaller plastic bottles, the sort of half-litre plastic. Is it half a litre or 330 mils, something like that? They have them. But it's the new recipe. Like I'm not as keen on the new recipe. I did enjoy a couple of cans of the 1910 recipe when I was at home the other week, because that tastes more like the iron brew that I remember. This new recipe is it's a bit too sweet.
I mean, not to sound like old man shouting at clouds, but I remember when I first moved to Dubai, so 2007, I remember, I'd go to my local pub. A pint of Heineken was 14 dirhams.
Wow, it's you don't get much out of 50 now for a pint of Heineken.
No. That's how times have changed. But mind you, that was like 18 years ago. So it's fair enough.
Yes, it's fair enough.
Prices change, shocker. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Never mind. Oh, well, very good. How's everything going? Been up to anything exciting?
No, just I've been trying to be active. I haven't been running in a long while, but the weather's like somebody's flicked on the good weather switch, because it's like here, it's not gradual. One day it's oppressively hot, and the next day it's awesome. So I need to get back out running. I've been running for ages, but I have been playing tennis and paddle, as I mentioned earlier, just try to be active. Yeah, but apart from that, not a lot. I'm looking forward to talking about Tornado, remember the name later on in the episode today.
I know. All week I've been going around. I used to always do, I don't know why, this is back years ago when I was working at a company. For some reason, I always used to go up to my mate there and I used to just whisper. There was two things I whispered. Fuck's sake. We're not even into the podcast properly. Yeah. But it does relate to Tornado. I used to, I really enjoyed the Tony Scott film starring Keira Knightley. And I would often go up and whisper, "My name's Domino and I'm a bounty hunter." So I've had that in my head with Tornado. The other thing I probably shouldn't say, but it is Scottish related. Fuck it, I'll say it. I used to go up and whisper in his ear a couple of lines from the John Leslie and Abby Titmus sex video. I would go up and whisper in John Leslie's gruff Scottish voice, "What's she doing, Abby?" And then Abby had a response. I don't know if you've ever seen the video, but the whole exchange went like this. "What's she doing, Abby? She's licking my arsehole."
I wonder what happened to Abby Titmus. Because she didn't disappear. Like that video kind of made her sort of more famous. She kind of became famous for being John Leslie's ex-girlfriend that did a grot film.
Would that qualify for the Swally? Because, I mean, technically, John Leslie is Scottish. Most of the cast just got... No, there is another woman involved, obviously.
But, the rule usually is if it's filmed in Scotland...
I think it might have been London, so we won't be covering John Leslie's sex tape on the Swally. Right, let's get out of this cul-de-sac.
Well, normally... You would be asking if I want to read the news, but before we do the news, I thought it'd be interesting to know that after swearing off hosting parties, was it after like maybe the Olympics party or something like that Cosmo held? Yes. He's enough time has passed, and Mrs. Cosmo has persuaded him to host a Halloween party, because we're recording this on Saturday, the 1st of November. So Cosmo had his Halloween party last night. He was up at the Costco early in the morning buying a load of spooky cupcakes, 180 mini sausage rolls that just need to be chucked into the oven, 12 bags of Halloween Haribo in case any of the kids come guysing at the door, 10 cases of Tennent's Lager, and a couple of bottles of Lambrusco for the women. He's put a carefully worded invitation in the Equity magazine, which, for those in the know, reading between the lines, is only extended to Scottish actors. No English. No English or Welsh actors need bother turning up. So he gets on his own costume. A full Highland dress, of course. It's his little tribute to Andy Stewart hosting the Lucky White Heather Club. He's saves him going out and looking for a costume. He helps Mrs. Cosmo, who's dressed as Meg Brocky, the milkmaid of Brigadoon, decorate the house with the appropriate scary decor, some crepe paper, paper bats, fake cobwebs, pictures of Ian Robertson. Scare the kids away before laying the table with the sausage rolls, the cakes, the cans, and the cheap wine. Mrs. C asks if he's going to put any of the cans into the fridge. Cosmo says only and Yanks drink cold beer before cracking a can. Jesus. Cosmo's words. Satisfied that everything's prepared for a good night, he stands by the window with an ambient can of Tennent's and watches for his guests arriving. As he's peering out the window, watching the kids wander by in their colourful costumes, he spots a pair of familiar sort of skinny legs poking out of one of his garden bushes. So he ventures out to investigate further, discovers that it's none other than David Heyman. There's no telling how long he's been lying there, but it looks like he's come dressed as Ramsay Nesbitt. On closer inspection, Cosmo finds a two-day-old daily record and a cold fish supper in his jacket pocket. The detective Cosmo quickly deduces that Heyman's tanned his carry out of 6 cans of Kestrel and a half bottle of Lamb's Navy rum when he's been lying undetected in the garden. A kindly passerby must have tied a hanky around his head to stem the blood flow after he walked into a bus stop pole, and he's definitely pissed himself. Matt Costello, who Cosmo has persuaded / bullied into wearing a Wonder Woman costume for a laugh, helps Mrs. Cosmo clean the hapless Heyman up and gets him into a pair of Cosmo's pyjamas before tucking him up in the spare room. Mrs. C chucks the piss-soaked clothes into the washing machine. Already regretting hosting the party, Cosmo cracks open another room temp can of Tennent's and looks out the window just in time to see his next guest tottering up the path. And it's none other than Joy McAvoy, who's come dressed, who perhaps unadvisedly has come dressed as the Batman Returns costume Catwoman. Big James doesn't entirely approve, as the costume leaves a little to the imagination, but he lets it go as he considers Joy a nice lassie, and she usually helps Mrs. Cosmo tidy up at the end of the night. She spots Cosmo at the window and gives him her winning smile, but which she can't help but return back. But the smile soon fades when he spots her companion for the evening and what he's wearing. It's her co-star from Two Doors Down, Alex Norton, and he's crammed himself into an Adam West-era Batman suit that's far too wee for him and doesn't cover his entire belly. He spots Cosmo at the window and gives him a big double thumbs up before doing some Batman punch and shouting "Pow!" and "Kablam!" in the garden. That'll be the sausage rolls getting tanned, reflects Cosmo as he goes to the door. He gives Joy a respectful kiss in the cheek as Norton helps himself to a handful of Haribo. "It's that sausage rolls I can smell," he says, pushing his way past Cosmo to get into the dining room. Next to arrive is wee Martin Compston and his wife Tiana. Compston is dressed in a Morton away strip, which he's picked up from the kids section in the club shop. Cosmo respects the effort, noting Compo's history with the team and considering that he himself didn't put a lot of thought into his own costume, until he spots the Adidas Predators on the wee man's feet. He's worn them all the way here, and he's now walking dog shit into the hallway. "Fuck's sake, wee man!" Cosmo cries, pointing at the floor. Poor Compo is absolutely mortified and kicks the boots off his feet into the front garden before frantically rubbing at the dog shit with a tissue that he's taken out of Tiana's handbag. Cosmo shouts on Costello, and he comes running through with some cleaning products, while Tiana, who's dressed as Batgirl, consoles the distraught Compo. Just then, Norton ambles through to see what all the commotion is about. He's got pastry flakes and cupcake icing around his mouth and down his front. He spots Tiana in the Batgirl costume and his eyes light up, but Cosmo's wide for him and intercepts him before he make a cunt of himself. Tiana reminds Compston about the gifts they've brought the Cosmos, and the wee fella perks up. He reaches into his bag and produces a 1972 bottle of Highland Park whiskey. Cosmo is touched and delighted by the generosity, and he gathers the couple up in a big bear hug, squashing the box of gourmet chocolate truffles they brought for Mrs. Cosmo. He's so pleased with the whiskey, he gathers everybody in the kitchen and sets up a game of bobbing for apples on the kitchen floor. He tells Costello to go first, then makes everybody laugh by holding poor Costello's hands behind his back and ducking his head under the water until he panics and his gold tiara falls off. Next is Joy's turn. She scooches onto her knees and is about to go for her first apple when Norton starts dry humping her, shouting something about how Batman and Catwoman are always shagging in the films. A raging Cosmo picks Norton up by his cape, strangling the pissed up actor and making him spew warm lager and undigested sausage rolls and cupcakes all over the lino. Once again, it's Costello, marigold gloves covering his bullet deflecting bangles, to the rescue. Just as Cosmo is booting Norton into the back garden, Heyman, his wee body swamped in Cosmo's jammies, bursts in with the expensive whiskey in his hand. He's cracked the bottle open and tanned a good few mouthfuls. Spotting Compston in the Morton strip, he starts singing the Match of the Day tune before doing a sliding tackle on the young actor, knocking him face first into the kitchen floor. When Tiana and Costello get him up to his feet, he's missing his front teeth. Mrs. Cosmo gathers him up in a sandwich bag and the young couple depart to try and find a 24-hour dentist. But by this point, Cosmo's had enough. His floors are covered in puke and dog shit. His good whiskey's been opened. It's probably got a good amount of Heyman spit in it as well. And he never even got a sausage roll. He tells the group it's time to go and shepherds them out into the chilly October night. Poor Joy's been left to deal with Heyman, who's still in Cosmo's pajamas, and Norton. She rings her brother James, who is in town but wasn't invited, to come and pick him up. Apparently Cosmo thinks that James McAvoy's a bit of a ponce. Just before Cosmo shuts her front door, a young actor who also wasn't invited comes bopping up the path. He's dressed in a burgundy velour tracksuit with running shoes, chunky jewellery, pink lens glasses, and a grey wig. Who the fuck's this now, thinks Cosmo before identifying disgraced, wronging Kevin Guthrie. He's made a very poorly judged decision to cast a bit of light on his horrendous crimes by dressing up as notorious paedophile and necrophiliac Jimmy Savile. Cosmo closes the door behind himself before doing just enough damage to Guthrie to keep him out of the hospital. Leaving the Savile-clad shit cunt to crawl out of the garden. He comes back into the house feeling a lot lighter and in a significantly better mood. He tells Mrs. Cosmo he's away to watch the 9 o'clock news in bed before getting his head down. Mrs. Cosmo thinks this is a good idea, and she follows him up with a squashed box of truffles, leaving the clean-up to Costello. Costello, like the Native American at the end of the Woodstock film, lets a little tear escape from the corner of his eye, which leaves a little trail of mascara as it runs down his stubbly cheek, and he considers how long it will be before he can retire to his little camp bed in the cupboard under the stairs. So that might be Cosmo's last ever party. Who knows? He's said it before, and he always ends up giving in.
Wow, what a night! Quite a lot to unpack. Quite a night at the Cosmos. I am still thinking about Alex Norton crammed into that Batman 66 costume. It must have been bits everywhere.
Yeah.
That would be a big bat belt that he needs.
Yeah. He's got 5 sausage rolls in his utility belt for the drive home.
Holy uncircumcised salami, Batman. That's fucking wow. And fair play to Joy for getting the Catwoman costume on.
Yeah, I'm sure. Fair bit of lubricant required. Imagine that one.
What was Guthrie thinking? Turning up as Savile. That's just shocking.
I mean, he's obviously had some really bad advice there, or he's just thought everybody will just think it's a laugh. He's kind of poking fun at himself, maybe. I don't know.
Did Costello have that Wonder Woman costume to hand? Was it one of Gal Gadot's?
Stole it off the set of Wonder Woman 84. No, I think Cosmo, being a big Linda Carter fan, would have insisted on the classic 1970s.
Okay, of course. Yeah, of course. That's better. Yeah.
Covers with a covered Costello's stomach, because it's like a sort of basque, isn't it? The main part of it, and then the kind of blue and white starred knickers.
I can imagine the fun they had getting him squeezed into that corset. That would have taken a lot of might and strength there.
I'm saying that Cosmo made him wear that for a laugh, but he's probably trying to teach him a lesson for mentioning how he was in Wonder Woman 84 all the time. Maybe that's why he made him wear it, so he'd stop talking about it.
I never realised he was in Wonder Woman 84.
It hardly ever gets mentioned, so it's not surprised.
Wonderful. Well, that is a fantastic Halloween night at the Cosmos. So, I wonder, he's not going to be bothering with another party next year.
Well, we said it before, but you never know. They might just be persuaded to maybe do a wee Christmas party. Who knows? It all depends on whether he's got to invite some different people, I think.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah, I think maybe he needs to have a look at the guest list. I'm sure there's some up and coming actors that I think we could have.
Can maybe ask along. Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, shall we have a look at what's been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks, Greg?
Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen in the news over the last couple of weeks that's caught your eye? I'm still laughing at Cosmo's party. It's fucking brilliant. I can't wait to edit this and listen to it back again. What have you seen in the news this week?
On the last episode we were talking about Elizabeth. I mean, when I was listening back to the last episode, I described Elizabeth Shannon as having the face that launched 1,000 wanks.
You did.
I maybe regret that a little bit. It's not a very nice thing to say, because I'm sure she's a lovely, lovely, lovely woman. But we've had another celebrity in Scotland in the last couple of weeks, and it's a host of the Tonight Show, ex Saturday Night Live performer, and I think all-round good 'un, I I think, Jimmy Fallon. So this comes from the Daily Record, just on the 25th of October. The headline reads, Jimmy Fallon drank Bucky while having, quotation marks, the best dinner ever with Scots soldiers. This was the King's Guard in Scotland after a chance encounter led him to be invited to their barracks. The comedian and television host also spoke about drinking Buckfast, which he referred to as Bucky, and he wore a kilt for the formal dinner in the officers' mess. He was on holiday in Royal Deeside when he was recognised by one of the soldiers from the 5th Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, who are also known as Five Scots. Fallon was greeted with kilts and bagpipes last week as they treated him to some Highland hospitality at the Victoria Barracks in Ballater. Posted on TikTok, Tonight Show host said the surprise invitation had led him hastily borrowing a kilt from the hotel he was staying in. He said that he decided to go on holiday by himself, going on a train journey north from Edinburgh. One of his stop-offs was at Billy Connolly's house, who he describes as one of his favourite comedians of all time. After meeting the Five Scots Balaclava Company outside Balmoral Castle, his hotel received a call from one of the unit's officers inviting him to dinner. He borrowed full Highland dress, including a kilt, from the night manager of his hotel. The night manager going above and beyond there. He was staying at the Fife Arms. Praising the soldiers' hospitality, Fallon said, "They were psyched I was wearing a kilt." I'm sure they weren't. "We had the best dinner ever. I had a Scotch egg. There were great speeches given." The TV star was given one of the Five Scots traditional caps, which he wore during his TikTok video, as well as his own personal kilt. I actually saw the video, and it goes into a bit more detail in the video. Like Fallon describes how the regiment have got their own tailor, so they've got like a kilt maker who's attached to the regiment, and he basically left the meal to go and make Fallon a kilt in the regimental colours, and then came back.
Jesus.
Yeah. He also revealed that the soldiers had given him the fortified wine Buckfast, which he explained is it's a type of wine, let's just say that I'm feeling it today. Fallon said that he didn't have any Scottish roots, but he added, "I feel like right now I might be the most Scottish person in Scotland. I mean, I drank Bucky." Steady on there, Jimmy, just steady on there. The evening began with a formal welcome to the camp by the commanding officer, second in command and company sergeant major. Fallon then saw a small ceremonial guard of soldiers rehearsing for the King's departure. The TV star was then shown some of the equipment the soldiers use. I'm assuming guns. Before the formal
Maybe
dinner.
other stuff as well. Maybe like their rucksacks and their camp stoves and stuff.
The boots. He also heard a talk by Lieutenant Samolis on the regimental colours. Major Thomas Blair, commanding officer of Five Scots, said earlier, "What started as a chance meeting near Balmoral turned into a brilliant evening. It's not every day you get to meet a Hollywood A-lister, and we're delighted to welcome to Scotland in true Scots style." So the reason that they bumped into each other, and again, I watched the video, was Fallon's got a friend who has got Scottish roots, and there was a key that had some kind of emotional significance that he gave to Fallon to bring to Scotland. So I think this friend, despite having Scottish roots, maybe he'd passed away and he'd never been to Scotland, or maybe he wasn't able to go. So I'm not sure, but so Fallon was on a bridge, a bridge over the River Dee, and he was making a little video to tell his friend that he was throwing the key into the river. So it's here in Scotland, blah blah blah. And as he was doing it, the regimental guys didn't recognise him at first, and they come up to inquire as to what the fuck he thinks he's playing at, throwing stuff into the river before realising who he was, and that was how they ended up having the chance encounter. But yeah, I think more and more people, I honestly think, for us, we obviously grew up in Scotland, we go back fairly regularly, we were exposed to the beauty of the country from young ages. And I always, I always wonder what, especially when people from America come and they go to the Highlands, like places like Ballater, or Loch Lomond, or up to Skye, or all these really striking, breathtaking places. It must blow them away. right? Because America's like pretty flat. If you come from somewhere like Wisconsin, it is as flat as a fucking pancake, you know?
Yeah, I think it's hugely impressive when you see the countryside and the amazing landscapes that we have in Scotland. So yeah, of course, it must be hugely impressive. And that's why I guess so many people kind of fall in love with the country and that they do, and when they do, they go all in, and exactly like Jimmy's done. And, good on him for getting this kilt. I've got a lot of time for Fallon. I do like.
Jimmy Fallon.
He seems like a funny, good guy. Like I did used to watch his show when I was in Dubai, actually, because it used to be on one of the channels.
Yeah, OSN, I think it's on.
Yeah. So I did used to watch it. And yeah, I like him. I think he's funny. So that's good. I'm really glad to hear that he got in the spirit of things and got his kilt on and tried Buckfast. I did say a Scotch egg, though. Scotch egg's English, isn't it? It's like from Yorkshire. It's where the origins. So I think the Scotch refers to the way it's cooked, like the scotching of it.
Okay.
So
there you go.
it's not actually Scottish, which, is funny because, it's batter and sausage meat, but we wouldn't put something as healthy as an egg into it.
Yeah.
It would be
a Mars bar
haggis or something that we'd put in the middle of it. That sounds fucking amazing, actually.
Ferrero Rocher. But my friend Dawn, who I work with here, she's from Glasgow as well. She was back last week for her brother's birthday, and she went to Edinburgh, and she said there's a cafe that the only way to get to the cafe it's on Calton Hill, and the only way to get to it is to walk up the hill to get to it. But you got like amazing views of the city and stuff. And she said that her and her friend went up there for a coffee and a bit of lunch, and she had a haggis toasty, and she said it was absolutely banging.
Yeah, I'll bet. That sounds fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I am surprised at the revelation, though, that Jimmy has admitted that he doesn't have any Scottish in him, because I don't want to, we have a lot of listeners in America, so we're not saying, but usually I presume he identifies as Irish, because it's usually one of the two, isn't it? So I can only imagine that for him not to say that his great-great-grandfather was a quarter Scottish, so he claims he's Scottish is the thing, but you're usually Scottish or Irish if you're American.
Well, I've just said a wee look on Google. So the name Fallon is of Irish origin, as you correctly said. It's derived from the Gaelic surname. I'm going to absolutely butcher this. Fallon-Hain. Fallon-Hain, I think is the right way to say it, which means an Old Gaelic descendant of Fallon-Han. So there you go. It comes from the word Fala Menach, which means leader or superior, linking the name to qualities of leadership and a ruling family. So there you go. He comes from Irish aristocracy, Jimmy Fallon, perhaps.
Okay, well, that would make sense then. Exactly. It's some eyes without even knowing about it. Yeah. But I'm good. I'm glad to hear it a good time. And that's amazing to hear that they have a dedicated kilt maker that can go off and just make a kilt. And
I know.
It up. Yeah.
I mean, he must have had one sort of partly done to go and be able I mean, I don't know how long it takes to make a kilt, but I'm pretty sure they're obviously all made by hand. Like a proper heavy Highland dress kilt, not one that you buy from like a fucking Scotland gift shop or something like that. Like a proper kilt. It would be handmade on a loom or something like that. And maybe he had one that was partly done and he just went and finished it off and gave it to Jimmy, perhaps. But I love the gesture regardless, you know?
Yeah, it's lovely, wonderful, and it's so hospitable. So I'm glad to hear he had a good time and enjoyed himself and got to sample Buckfast, which he felt the effects of the next day.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, if you're not match fit for a few glasses of Bucky, then you are going to feel the effects the next day, because it's, as we know, it's the old firewater, isn't it?
Potent stuff.
Potent stuff.
Yeah, we'll be going back with a suitcase full of Bucky.
I wonder if he did. I wonder if he, because you can't buy Buckfast in Glasgow Airport.
Really?
No. Or I doubt if you can't get it in Glasgow Airport, you probably can't get it. In fact, you can't buy Buckfast in any reputable off license. You can only buy it from like a corner shop with a booze license. You know,
I do like the expat shop here has like in the fridge, it's cans of Tennant's, McEwan's Export, and then it's got like, Hobgoblin, Old Speckled Hen, and then it's got a shelf just full of Buckfast.
Is it really? I mean, it's not bad when it's drinkable when it's cold. There was an advert that I saw from the 1970s, and it was basically marketing Buckfast to housewives. So it was like a one pager, and it was like a housewife relaxing with a little glass of Buckfast after doing all their housework.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it, and I'll send it to you.
So she's got the house all neat and tidy, ready for her husband coming home, and then decides to have a couple of glasses of Wreck the Hoose juice.
Yeah, exactly. Just smash a couple of glasses of Bucky before the kids come in.
Wonderful.
Anyway, that is my first story this week. What have you got for... we got for us?
My first story has a bit of a Halloween theme about it, Greg, although, Halloween was yesterday as we record. And it's from the Scottish Sun this week, and the headline is Blood Bother. Scottish cops were forced to pull over a blood-stained motor after a Halloween wind-up went spectacularly wrong. The vehicle was sporting a very spooky look as it cruised the streets of Glasgow ahead of October the 31st. And there is indeed a photo of the car. It's a white car, and it was smeared with bloodstains and bright red handprints, and it was spotted in the city centre of Glasgow on Sunday night. To complete the look, the driver was dressed as Ghostface from Scream. The video of a creepy car was posted to TikTok, and the driver of the car that was filming, her passengers couldn't help but take some photos as they stopped beside the Volvo at some traffic lights. But it appeared the motor's blood-splattered look was a little bit too convincing. The next shot shows the blood-covered four-wheeled vehicle had been stopped by the cops. A police van was parked behind the motor with its flashing lights. But after she uploaded the video, she managed to capture the attention of the driver. He replied to her TikTok and said, "That's me." When she quizzed him on the run-in with the law, he had a hilarious reply. He said, "They had to check it was fake blood." But in his own video about the stop, he revealed that the police had their much less sinister reason. He wrote, "They just wanted a picture." And yeah, that's the story, Greg. Nice, short and sweet. So somebody's been driving around Glasgow with a Volvo, and it's a white Volvo, covered in blood and handprints. I mean, it's so over the top that you wouldn't think it was real. It's not like there's just a splatter of blood on the bonnet, so it looks like you might have hit someone. Yeah. It's all over the side. There's handprints. They've gone all out. But the driver's wearing a ghost face mask. Now, surely that's not allowed, because that would be impairing his vision.
Yeah, and I think, does your face not have to be, when you're driving in the UK, does your face not have to be, like, visible? Are you allowed to cover your face when you're driving in the UK? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think you are, because it must be for, like, cameras or something. I don't think you are. Yeah.
Not sure. But, I mean, it's Glasgow, you know what I mean? It's probably just being diligent.
Yeah, possibly. You ever seen anything like out and about Halloween, nice and scary, like something like that?
I mean, some of my neighbours here have kind of gone for it a bit. The good thing here is, like, if you don't have any Halloween decorations up, there's, like, the kids won't come and chap your door. You know what I mean? Like, they only go to the houses that are decorated, and because there's obviously a lot of Americans in Dubai, you know, it's like fucking Christmas Day for those guys, right? So they really go for it, decorate. Well, you know, when I lived in the old house here, like, everybody decorated their house for Halloween, like everyone. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've not seen anything that's really taken my breath away. But I don't think we really go for it. I think even in the UK, we don't really go for it in the same way as the Americans do. Maybe they have like some skeletons in the garden or something like that, or some pumpkins or some. Well, not even pumpkins. It's always a turn up into Scotland.
Yeah, it is. It's a neat that you use for a lantern. Yeah. I mean, I think what I think of in the UK when it's Halloween, I did see the photos in the paper today, and it's, of course, it's Jonathan Ross's Halloween party that he has every year. Yeah. So I was looking at some of the celebrities that were there in their costumes. So yeah, but it is very much an American thing. I saw someone complaining on the Amsterdam Reddit last night about how they'd had people knocking at their door and stuff, and they were like, "What is this, an American thing? Like, people are ringing my buzzer, trick or treat, and I live on the third floor. What am I supposed to do? Throw chocolate down?" And the vast majority of responses were like, "Just shut the fuck up. Just ignore it. If it's bothering you, just don't, or join in. Like, you know, I think someone just said, just fucking chill out, have a glass of wine and watch Netflix or something. Why are you fucking complaining about this? But yeah, I guess some people just don't like it. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I was never allowed to go trick-or-treating because my mother sort of equated it with begging. So for some reason,
Okay.
you know, like in Scotland, you don't trick or treat anyway. It's guising. So when you ring the bell, you have to do like a wee turn to get your apple or your lollipop or whatever. Like tell a joke or sing a song or something like that. Well, you certainly used to. I'm sure now the kids just turn up fucking demanding sweets or they egg your car if you don't give them anything. So yeah, it's never really been a big part. Oh, for me growing up, I'm not a big fan of getting dressed up either, to be honest. You know, it sort of stresses me out a bit because you're sort of like, you don't want to turn up to a Halloween party with the shittest costume. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're going to do that, you need to make sure you look like you've made zero effort. So it's almost like, oh, Greg hasn't tried, but, you know, secretly you have. But I know what you mean.
My mum once dressed me up. Like the first time, I remember it quite well. Like, my mum's quite good at doing costumes. She's quite crafty, my mum. And I remember my first year at school, we were allowed to dress up on Halloween. And she dressed me up. She put me she kind of made a sort of poncho out of a bin bag, and she got a sign from somewhere that said plastic surgeon or something and stuck it in my chest. And then she made me wear like a scary face mask backwards. And she said, you know, you're like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So you can be, so I had the surgeon sign on my front and on my back. So if I was facing you, I was Dr. Jekyll. If I turned my back on you, I was Mr. Hyde. You know what I mean? It's
okay.
Good. And then for Cubs, and this was in the 80s, it was a different time, but she got one of my stepdad had dust sheets for his motorbike, so she got me a dust sheet. She got a dust sheet and she made a sort of hijab. Right. She made a hijab, including the kind of headgear, and she put a load of foundation on my face and drew a moustache on my top lip with a mascara pencil and sent me off the Cub Halloween party with like a toy gun. So I like an Arabic soldier / terrorist.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was the late 80s. It was, well, actually, was it the late 80s? The mid 80s? It was a different time.
Yeah, it was a different time. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. Yeah, I remember going trick-or-treating when I was younger. Well, guising, sorry. And you're right. I remember going, it was my friends. We went to his neighbourhood because he lived in like a richer kind of area. So we went there to go around the bigger houses and go guising. But yeah, you're right. I remember every door we went to, we'd come in, we had to go into the lounge, do our little party piece, get our treats, and then
in the house
to the next house. A couple of houses. I remember vividly coming in and going into the lounge and having to perform whatever we're doing. I think I told a joke. I can't remember now. Yeah. Anyway, at least I was doing something. And got some sweets for it. So
you weren't just going begging for sweets like my mum would have thought you were doing.
No,
you were earning your confectionery.
Exactly, we're entertaining the masses to get some sweets, which I can't even remember what they would have been back in the day. It wouldn't have been like Haribo and stuff. I'm sure it was like Parma Violets or something, or Blackjacks. The Schwizzles range, so like double dips. Blackjacks, the big refreshers and the packets of refreshers. Yeah. My daughter went trick or treating last night. She didn't want to go, but her friends wanted to go. She's going to be 15 in a couple of weeks. She's like, this is the last time I'm ever going to trick or treat. And she said she came back with some sweets, and they were all shite. Just just not good at all. Nothing that I wanted to eat. Anyway. At least you've got that and the thing. That's a good point, because our mutual friend's kids went trick-or-treating and he sent a photo of their haul. I was just having a look to see what was there. Yeah, it's all little packets of Haribo. It's those Maum. A lot of those Maum.
Yeah, they're cheap. They probably sell them in like Home Bargains or something.
Yeah, and it's all little bags of Haribo. Or lollipops. Oh, someone got a packet of Love Hearts. Just a mini one, though, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
I had a look at Love Hearts the other week when I was in the expat shop, and they're all politically correct and nice now.
Well, the night before when they said things like, show us your tits. It's like that.
Yeah.
never said show us your tits.
No, but I'm positive they used to say things like nice bum and stuff.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't think they can even say kiss me now or something.
Yeah, probably
There's
not.
something, because that's too, forward, like that's too aggressive in terms of that. I'm sure it says things like you have a lovely smile.
You might trigger somebody if you say kiss me, right? Yeah, trigger some repressed memory.
Anyway, let's move on before I say something which, okay, what else have you seen this week, buddy?
Well, on the subject of political correctness, right? So this story comes from the Daily Record a few days ago. Headline reads, Hobbycraft, which for those people who anybody listening overseas is a big sort of arts and crafts superstore chain in the UK. Hobbycraft say sorry after customer thrown out of Scott's store for objecting to a no TERFs badge.
Oh dear.
Hobbycraft has apologised to the customer who claimed she was thrown out of the shop for objecting to a no TERFs badge worn by a staff member. The arts and crafts retail giant came under fire after the woman posted a formal complaint on social media about her experience at a Dundee branch on Sunday, sparking a huge online debate. The regular customer, posting as Bex, B-E-X, and quotation marks, sewing with steel, all one word, took to X, formerly known as Twitter. Do we still have to say that? I feel like it's been X for ages, right?
Yeah, I think, I don't know.
Yeah, I've had to delete X. I'll tell you why later. Took to X to claim she had challenged a checkout assistant who was wearing an abusive and discriminatory badge reading "No TERFs, no Tories," referring to the term which stands for transgender exclusionary radical feminist. Beck said she and her husband were ejected by a manager on the grounds of their gender-critical beliefs. The move was slammed by women's rights campaigners, including For Women Scotland, who described it as unlawful discrimination. Hobbycraft told the Record it was sorry the customer had been asked to leave and had launched an immediate internal investigation. That's in quotation marks. The complainer claimed she was being served by a female member of staff wearing the pink love heart badge when she quizzed her on the meaning. She said she then proceeded to tell the woman behind the counter that being a TERF is a characteristic legally protected by the Equality Act, and that the word had been defined in law as a derogatory and abusive term used to refer to people holding this legally protected belief. I mean, this woman sounds like an absolute arsehole. I'm really sorry. She said, at this point, upon suspecting I may have been one of the TERFs, her badge appeared to bar from the store. She immediately became hostile and reproachful. The post added, we very much felt like she was attempting to make a spectacle of us. I think you were doing that yourself, Mrs. And publicly humiliate us for objecting to the discriminatory badge that she was wearing. The customer claimed that a manager who attended the checkout then told her and her partner that they need to go and read a biology textbook.
What? Oh my God.
I feel like they'll be looking for their career in retail might have come to a fairly abrupt stop there before asking them to leave the store. The complaint letter added, I visited the shop today as an average member of the public and feel that I should be able to do so without being made to feel unwelcome and subjected on the grounds of a legally protected characteristic. If the behaviour my partner and I were subjected to is not in accordance with Hobbycraft's customer service and discrimination policies, we would welcome an explanation on the steps which you will take to remedy this situation to ensure that other customers are not subject to such discrimination when visiting your stores. The post had attracted more than 100,000 views on X yesterday with hundreds of comments. For Women Scotland responded to the post writing, Tut tut, Hobbycraft, this is unlawful discrimination. Your staff have no business refusing customers because of their political views, and your managers need to leave their personal issues at home. Better get the lawyers on this one or apologise. A Hobbycraft spokesman said, we're aware of the incident and we're taking the matter seriously. We're sorry that the customer was asked to leave the store and we've launched an immediate internal investigation. We will remain in contact with the customer throughout this process. So basically, right, the girl behind the counter is probably a young woman who feels strongly about these issues, strong enough to wear a badge, right? Yep. Now, probably she should have been told when she clocked on, look, with respect, I respect your beliefs, but maybe don't wear the badge. But she's worn it anyway, right? Now, this woman that's come in, she could just have bought her needles and her threads or her wool or whatever she likes to craft with and walked off. But she had to fucking say something. She had to say, well, that is obviously referring to someone like me because I have gender critical beliefs. Do you know what I mean? And you're just like, come on, fuck. It's probably a Saturday afternoon. Nobody wants to be there. Her husband didn't want to be in fucking Hobbycraft with her, I'm sure, on a Saturday. The girl behind the girl at the cash till whatever didn't want to be there. The manager didn't want to be there. Just come on. Just fucking buy your knitting and fuck off. Write a letter later if you want.
Do you think that she's using the TERF as a deflection? She's actually a Tory. And that's what offended her the most. Yeah. But she couldn't admit that she's a Tory. Yeah. And that would just be open to much ridicule. So that's why she's focused on the TERF. I agree with you. Like, I think it is a fair play to the young girl standing up for her beliefs. I think it's the right thing to do. Maybe don't wear your badge at work where you're serving the public, because this kind of thing will happen. Yeah. The woman she's just looking to be offended. That's the way the world's going to go, though, Greg. Like, that's the way it is going. I'm fully behind people being vocal about their beliefs as long as they're good beliefs. But
as long as I agree with them.
Well, you know what I mean. But people will get offended that you are criticising my viewpoint, even though it's the fucking wrong viewpoint. And yeah, they're going to just get offended. Look, am I not allowed to be racist? What's wrong? It's my God-given right. You know, like, that's the kind of way we're going, and it's fucking horrific. Like, it's
my God-given right to set fire to this wheelie bin outside this hotel that's housing asylum seekers.
Yeah, exactly. It's what my
I pay my taxes.
Ancestors did. Yeah. Yeah, I pay my taxes. Effectively, I own the bin. I mean, it's one level up from telling the police, I pay your wages. Like, effectively, it's just fucking. Oh, the world's going shit, man. We had a bit of a sweet spot, it seemed, for a while, where everything was okay. I think that was the 90s. I'm sure there was bad shit then as well that I've just blocked out. Yeah. But there was a sweet spot.
We were just having too good a time to pay much attention to what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, all we cared about was the top 40 and getting smashed and going home with a lovely young lady, hopefully. If that was what motivated us. Having enough money at the end of the week to have 2 nights out in a row, maybe a Tuesday as well, maybe a Monday. Thursday's a good night out. A few pints on a Wednesday.
I haven't got much money left. Oh well, never mind. I'll just dip the till in my part-time job, and that'll pay for.
Yeah, there's ways and means. But what I would say? What I would say to all this is like, whatever happened to fucking debate, right? Yeah. Whatever happened to sitting down with somebody that you that you didn't agree with on certain issues and finding some common ground? I mean, I just seem. Everything is so polarizing and everybody's opinions are so fucking extreme. You know what I mean? Like, personally, when it comes to this, if a guy feels more like a woman than a man and he wants to dress like a woman and he wants to be accepted as a woman and he's not doing anybody any harm, personally, good luck to her, right? I always say good luck to him, which would have been offensive to some people. Good luck to her, right? If that's, but if they want to use a woman's toilet and there's a woman there who is not comfortable with that, just go to the fucking gents. Why, just have a quiet life, just go to the gents. You'll be accepted in there, But it becomes like a big, massive issue, you know what I mean? And then it's in the paper and it's on X and blah, blah, blah. And everybody comes out in support of different sides, rather just sitting down and saying, let's find a bit of fucking common ground so we can all just get on with it. There's a lot of fucking worse things happening in the world than a fucking guy in a dress using the fucking ladies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't want to touch any of that or go down that route. But people come up with, but it's dangerous. And, really, it's,
He might be a rapist in disguise. I've heard that a few times.
Might just need a piss. And
I just want to go for a piss. sitting down.
Doesn't want to go into the bloke's toilets, although I think the majority of men would probably be okay with it. Or, I don't know, there might be some comments about having a laugh or something about or I don't know, I'd like to think maybe that's just us. Most people would just make like of fuck, I need one of them, mate. Easy access, wear my kilt. I don't know. I'm going to shut up for fear of saying the wrong thing. But it does feel like we are coming down to something, I don't know. I don't mean to trivialize the situation and serious topics, but it almost feels like we're hurtling towards a time where I'm like, well, you and our mutual friend like Game of Thrones. I don't like Game of Thrones. I'm offended by Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Why don't you like the things that we like? What's wrong with you?
To be fair, our mutual friend is a bit like that anyway. But it's very much I don't know.
The only thing I would say to men who identify as ladies, who are ladies, is that the queue for the gents goes a lot quicker than the queue for the ladies. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So, in a pinch, you're welcome in the gents. Anyway, right, that was my second and final story this week. Fucking news is taking ages today. What's your next story?
Talking of being offended, my next story is from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and the headline is Boozy Claims. A senior leader at a crisis-hit public body was sanctioned after allegedly upsetting Rod Stewart's wife and twerking in front of actor Martin Compston. I mean, come on, we've not got better things to be doing with our time. The investigation was sparked at Historic Environment Scotland, HES, after the line of duty star was made uncomfortable by the woman's behaviour. The incident occurred at a work event where the manager is said to have also upset Penny Lancaster. It is the latest scandal to hit the Scottish Government, responsible for the care of Edinburgh Castle and the Crown Jewels.
Why mention that?
I've no idea.
Can't even hold a party without upsetting Rod Stewart's wife. How can you be trusted with the crown jewels in Edinburgh Castle? Is that the implication there, perhaps?
I've no idea why they're going down that route. The Scotsman also says a director at the heritage body arranged for a boozy Christmas working lunch at Edinburgh Castle, but pressed catering bosses for a freebie. So I guess there's something else that are coming into this. This relates to this incident. So in 2023, HES bosses arranged a corporate event at Edinburgh Castle for inviting guests, hosting Mr. Compston and Miss Lancaster. Witnesses said a senior member became drunk and sat on a guest's knee before standing up and twerking in front of Mr. Compston. She is then claimed to have posed for a photograph with Penny Lancaster and had joked and referred to them both as two dumb blondes together. Complaints were lodged that both celebrity guests were made to feel uncomfortable. Now, I wonder if the celebrities complained or if someone else has complained on this. HES is then understood to have brought an external expert to carry out an HR investigation into the incident. For fuck's sake, this is where your money's going, people. The handling of the investigation was supported by Chief Executive Katrina Brown. The Scotsman revealed earlier this week that Miss Brown has separately been suspended just 1 year into the role. The complaint against the senior staff member was upheld, but they would not confirm what sanction was taken against her. Sources close to the matter said the external investigation was criticised in what was described as internal culture of fear in the organisation, and he was unable to fully probe the situation because staff were too scared to talk. This goes on a long story about the stuff about money and all this jazz that we don't need to go into. But you said we remain committed to ensuring that all hospitality and hosting is appropriate, proportionate, and in line with public expectations. It doesn't really mention, I think that's kind of it. It's more about pay grades and stuff that the rest of the article goes into. But I mean, they've probably buried that information in this article. Basically, somebody got upset that Martin Compston twerked in front of them, and no, that they twerked in front of Martin Compston. Sorry, half read the article, half speaking shit. And yeah, I did like that though. The woman just posed for a photograph with Penny and said, "Oh, two dumb blondes together, eh?" And that's been blown out. I've got a funny feeling someone has complained and not Compston and Lancaster. Because I think they're both quite good eggs. I quite like, I don't know much about Penny Lancaster, but I know she trained as like a community support police officer. Right. And she does it regularly. She still does like a day, a month, which some people are like, oh, is that all? You're like, she doesn't have to fucking do anything. Yeah. But she's Rod Stewart's wife, but she still does it because she obviously cares about the community and stuff. Yeah. And they always strike me as kind of good eggs, so I can't see them complaining. Martin's going to have a laugh at that, surely, unless he's unless his public persona is drastically different, and I don't think it is. Maybe
he was complaining because his teeth were sore after getting tackled by David Bain.
Possibly. That could possibly be it, yeah. But yeah, just a fucking, there's something else going on here. It's very strange behaviour to be cancelled by that. But yeah, so the organisation that looks after the crown jewels in Edinburgh Castle in a bit of hot water.
The organisation, it's the fucking Scottish government. It's not an organisation. Do you know what I mean? Fuck off, the sun.
Anyway, never mind. So yeah, we'll see if anything happens about that, but I don't think so. I think that's probably it. And I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm sure if she went home and said that, if Penny Lancaster was offended by that and she went home and said to Rod, you never guess what happened. Rod would have been in fucking stitches about that. Yeah.
It would have been.
I'd probably asked if she had a copy of the photograph because he'd see who this other blonde was. Because he'd like to have a wank over another leggy blonde. Anyway. Okay, right. Have you seen anything else this week, buddy?
No, that's everything. Okay. That's all.
Right, before we go on to talk about the Scottish remake of Twister, let's have a little word from our sponsors.
At the end of the day, one bank is nearer to you and your needs. The Clydesdale Bank gives first-year full-time students £6 to spend in John Menzies or Student Union shops. Come in and check it out. The Clydesdale Bank. It's worth checking into.
Right then, Craig. It was your choice on the Swally this episode, so why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about today?
So, this week in the pod, we've been watching 2025 independent film Scotland set samurai western Tornado. In 18th century Scotland, a young Japanese woman called Tornado attempts to evade a gang of cutthroat robbers led by Tim Roth's ruthless Sugarman, co-starring Jack Lowden, Rory McCann, Tachiro Hira, Joanne Whalley and Kôki? Kôki? Do you think I was saying it? Kôki?
Kôki, I think.
Written and directed by John McClane, late of the Beta Band. Did you like the Beta Band? Beta Band?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, they're not one of my favourites, but I do like them, yeah. Yeah, different.
So, yeah, a rare, almost brand new film review by the Culture Swally this week. I had seen this before because when I was flying from Hong Kong to... flying back to Dubai from Thailand, rather, I watched it it was on the film. It was edited a bit, I realised when I watched it again for the podcast. Okay. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. What did you think of Tornado?
Well, you know where I stand on films like this, Greg. It's set in 1790, so obviously that's a down for me.
Red flag.
Yeah, huge red flag. No, I mean, the time didn't really have anything in terms of to do with this. It could be, I just convinced myself it was in some sort of post-apocalyptic world, and that made me feel better. Okay. No, it was good. No, I'm joking.
It was actually in a pre-apocalyptic world. Bit of satire there, yeah.
No TERFs in this world, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. I really did. It was nice. It's a nice, well, first of all, it's an hour and a half long, which is good. But it's a really slow pace. It's a real slow burn film.
Yeah.
The cinematography is beautiful. The score was great as well. Really good actors. Not just, I was looking forward to Tim Roth and Jack Lowden, but it was other actors that really stole the film for me. And a really interesting plot as well. I mean, like a mix of Seven Samurai, Kill Bill, Home Alone. Like everything was kind of in there, you laughing at Home Alone.
Yeah.
It's the season. It's kind of thing.
Yeah, almost.
But yeah, like part Western, part revenge film, part fucking fever dream. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good film. I'll come on to it later. There's something lacking about it though, and I can't put my finger on what it is. It's almost like it needed something else to just elevate the film, but it's good. It's really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, the way that... So the film starts with Tornado and a wee boy that's got in tow with her running away across the sort of grassy hill from Tim Roth's character Sugar and his gang. And we have a bit of her evading them. It's quite a long, maybe like 10, 15, 20 minute scene of her hiding in a sort of stately home, like in a big house, and escaping. And then there's a flashback which tells us how she got to that point. And I remember when I realised that, I thought, I don't know, but why don't we understand why we've done it this way? Why not just start it from where the flashback starts and just tell it kind of, a traditional linear. But for me, it sort of worked a bit because you've got like like it starts with a chase, which in chases are exciting, right? So you're sort of drawn in. I think if anything's lacking, it's that the film's maybe a bit too short, and I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm a big fan of a short film, but it might have benefited from maybe an extra 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe, I don't know what of, because most of the film is a chase, apart from maybe sort of 15, 20 minutes where we see her doing the puppet show with her dad. So the sort of scenario is it's 18th century Scotland, and Tornado and her dad travel around doing a sort of traditional Japanese string puppet show and sort of samurai exhibition. And Tornado spots some of Sugar's gang watching the show. They've just stolen 2 bags of gold that one of the guys is carrying. He's set it down, and while they're watching the show, Tornado spots the wee boy who we see at the start of the film stealing the gold and running away with it. Tornado's frustrated with with the life that her and her dad live, travelling around doing the show, so she resolves to steal the gold for herself, which sets up this whole pursuit. And it's just that, it's just all quite quick. I mean, I put a load of washing on and sat down to watch it again last night for the second time, and the film was finished before the washing was finished. You know what I mean? So it is awfully quick. I don't know where you would add the time. Maybe a wee bit more with Fusion, who's Tornado's dad.
Yeah.
I think it would have been good to see him maybe off a couple of Sugar's gang before he's killed, But it does work quite well, him giving Sugar that wound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I agree. There maybe is a little, the pacing is maybe a little bit too quick, maybe.
No, yeah. I go with you on that. Like, to go back to your point about the beginning and then the flow of it, I completely agree. It threw me for a second because I'm watching it and I think I maybe wasn't fully paying attention. I did pick up my phone and I kind of missed that it was a flashback when it went to the flashback. Right. So I picked up my phone when she arrives at the camp and she's in with the strong man. Yeah. And I look up at the poster of her dad and then it's a flashback. Mm-hmm. So I kind of missed that. So I had to rewind it. So I then completely focused on the film from then on in. Completely, because I was like, I don't want to miss anything, rewind. So that worked because it helped me engrossed in it. Now, I agree. I think it was clever that they did the chase in the beginning because it has you invested. Well, it obviously didn't have me invested because I picked up my phone. But I thought it was a very clever way to do things. I agree with you. I would like to have seen more of her dad, Fujin, because he was a great character. And I wanted to explore more about the cultural kind of differences between him and Tornado because, little things like she wants to eat with a fork. He wants her to eat with chopsticks. He's always speaking Japanese to her. She's always replying in English. It's kind of the cultural divide there. I wanted to look at more of that and explore more of that. And I think then it would have had more of an impact towards the end where she basically accepts that she is a samurai. and this is the way she's going to live. Where I would have added more to this film is, despite all the build-up and the chase, and as I say, it's a very quick film, and I agree it did need a bit more. The last 20 minutes is Tornado's revenge, effectively for her father. And I felt that was quite rushed. She dispatches of everyone so easily, so quickly. It sounds maybe the teenager in me like I wanted to see more killings, or I didn't want. I know they're going to die. I want to see it stretched out a bit. She seems to dispatch of everyone really easily, quite quickly, and I just felt that there's not a lot of peril in that part. The slight. Maybe at the last part where she's fighting the guy with a musket and the man in black, but you know she's going to dispatch them, and then it ends up being a little bit comedic, really, of how that ends with the severed armed musket firing itself. But I wondered if you could have added a bit more of that, but then it would have made it maybe a different film. Then you'd be speaking about how, the last 30 minutes just goes mental.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe it is quite fitting that it's quite quickly dispatched of, only 20 minutes and that's it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, coming back to your point about seeing more between Tornado and her dad, you make a good point, because she is she's sort of petulant, right? She's petulant, and she wants to steal this gold. So she has that when she resolves to take her bloody revenge on them all. That's sort of like a kind of redemption for her. There's that scene where she throws the gold. She's going to keep some of the gold, and then she's like, actually, it's bad, and she takes it and drops it in the lake, and
then spits on it.
And spits on it, yeah. Done that before he threw it in the lake, but that's sort of like her redemption. But she's sort of difficult to root for in those scenes, and sort of understanding more of how they've come to be in Scotland, and how what's happened. They don't talk much about her mum.
No.
We have to assume that the mother is maybe passed away, and that when she's been young, and it's just been her and her father for a long time. So like just maybe a little bit more exposition around that, and seeing a bit more. It feels a bit like, because it's like John McClane's obviously the cinematography's heavily influenced by like sort of John Ford films like The Searchers and stuff like that. He loves these big wide shots of the countryside, and the scenes of the gang sort of walking in a row, whether we see them walking towards the camera or the camera's behind them, they're sort of walking across the sort of rugged hillsides and things. Like, they're really effective, because like we're saying in the news, it's filmed in Scotland, and the scenery's like awesome.
Beautiful.
So you feel like he really wants it to have really big Western vibes, and Westerns are actiony, you know what I mean? Unless you get the sort of postmodern one like The Unforgiven, which I watched a few weeks ago actually for the first time in years, and it wasn't the film that I thought I was going to watch, to be honest. I mean, there's not a lot of violence in it. The violence that is in it is pretty fucking brutal, but most of the film is reflection and, all that sort of stuff. And in this one, he keeps the violence pretty low key to begin with. There's the scene, there's a very brief moment when Sugar cuts Lazy Legs' throat as they're walking up towards the house. He just calls him over and cuts his throat. And then when Alex McQueen comes into it, Neil's dad from The Inbetweeners, you bummed her. There's a moment where he's kind of beaten up, but it's off camera.
Yeah.
And then when Little stabs Kitten, it's from a distance. You know what I mean? But so as the film goes on, the violence gets closer and closer. So it gets closer and closer to the camera. So by the time Tornado's taken her revenge, when she takes her sword back off the guy takes her father's sword back off the guy that stole it, she stabs him with her tanto and then runs his throat down her father's sword that's stuck in the tree, and there's just fucking blood everywhere. And there's been nothing like that for the whole film. So it's like, it sort of goes from understating the violence to kind of bringing it really, really close. And it's sort of like he wants it to be a violent film, but he wants the violence to sort of crescendo. So by the time Tornado's taken her revenge, we've got arterial blood. We've got a guy getting shot in the face by an arrow. We've got the guy that you mentioned earlier on, somebody getting their hand cut off. It's, I don't know. I mean, there's maybe a sense that McClane is just really in a hurry to get to the revenge. You know what I mean?
I do. It does seem that way because, as we say, and I think we've mentioned a few times and probably will mention a few times more, this is a very slow-paced film. And it does need your attention. And you're right. All of the violence in it is quite subtly done to match the pacing of the film. You get comedic violence quite near the beginning where Rory McCann's kitten falls through the floor and onto the piano. And you don't see that happen. You hear it and you see the aftermath, obviously, but maybe Big Rory wasn't up for falling, or the budget didn't allow for him falling through the roof.
Well, with a bit of both, no doubt.
It's and it's a bit better in a way you don't see it, because it adds, you're imagining it, and then when you see him and he's just, she's not in the piano. It's funny. And you're right, when you see him getting stabbed, it's from far away. But then all of a sudden, 20 minutes to go, you're right in a Friday the 13th film. Like that, the kill with the sword in the tree, I'm sure that's in like part 6 or something. Like it's so, Jason with a machete in a tree. I'm positive something like that happens. Yeah. And it's, it does ramp up. One thing, you're speaking about to go back to the relationship of Tornado and her father, it's never actually mentioned how old Tornado is.
No.
So you're kind of not sure. Sometimes you think she's maybe in her early 20s. Sometimes you think she's like 16. Like, I don't know how old she is. It's not clear. But she does, you're right. At times it is hard to root for her because I think she's obviously dreaming of a better life. She does say that to her dad at one point. And has she taken the money to help set them up with a better life? But the one that strikes out to me is near the beginning where in the house, and Little does say to her, he's kind of got her, but he's torn because he knows he needs to go back to his dad, but then obviously he wants the money for himself. Yeah. And there's the girl of the house that's there, and he says to her, like, if she leaves, I'll kill you. And okay, let's be honest, everyone is going to fucking run in that situation. Yeah. No one's going to care. But as a hero in the film, she should be protecting that girl and saying, like, she does say he's not going to kill you. How does she know that? But well, it does seem a little bit like she's just fucking off, and the girl's like, you can sort yourself out.
Run to Daddy.
I'll be coming back. If you run, I'll catch you. And if she runs, I'll kill you.
Well, that's where maybe the script's a wee bit uneven, because when she says that, you could be forgiven for thinking, well, these people all know each other, and then it's sort of backed up a wee bit because Sugar and Fusion know each other. You know what I mean? So you're like, so does she know Little that he's a sort of wannabe, he sort of aspires to be as ruthless as his dad, but in reality, he's not, I wasn't sure. But, taking it the other way, she has potentially just left this young woman. And we see her, right? Because there's the moment during the flashback when she's collecting the money after the show, and that girl puts a couple of coins into the tin that she's passing around. So, and maybe this is the issue. Maybe, like, if they had just given it an extra 15, 20 minutes and sort of built the script out a bit more, it, sort of establishing the community that they all live in a bit more, so they'd help you understand, do these characters have relationships that have started before the film? Do they know each other? When they stop to watch the show, when Kitten and Little and Lazy Legs and Squidlips stop to watch the show, have they seen it before? Have they seen these guys before? And that's why they stop, because they want to see it, because it's a bit violent and they like it. You know what I mean? It's difficult to sort of assume, because they don't really take the time to explain it.
I did like I felt like I was watching like Dick Tracy or something with all the henchmen's names, Squidlips, Lazy Legs, Sugar Man. It was very well done in that regard. But you're right, they don't go into really the story, and you do think they do. I totally forgot that. Sugar Man does know them and probably has seen them. And again, you kind of feel bad for rooting for Tornado, because when they go to the entertainers camp and stuff, and kill the knife man, kill the strong man, set it on fire, she doesn't really seem that arsed or try and warn them or protect them or anything. She's just looking after herself.
She's quite upset when the strong man says when he moves to go out, she doesn't want him to go out because she knows that these guys are capable of killing them.
True.
You know?
And she is a bit of an arse to the little boy, but she does kind of look after him at the end before he dies.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I mean, that's sort of like the beginning of her almost redemption, right? When she finds him, he's obviously been shot in the leg with an arrow and he's dying, and she looks after him. This is after fucking giving him 1 coin and then throwing him out of a moving wagon.
I mean, that 1 coin was probably a lot of money to the little boy, though. So.
Yeah, for sure. But it proved to be his undoing, didn't it? Because the next person that found him was Kitten and found the coin in his hand. So, I don't know. I mean, the performance in this, I mean, I do like, I like Tornado, it's very cinematic the way that McLean shoots her. You know, there's lots of that like her long black hair kind of blowing around her face, and you just see that one intense eye staring out and all that, and it's cool. But Tim Roth is absolutely brilliant, I think, in this. He's so good, and it's the first new thing I've watched Tim Roth in maybe since, I don't know, the fucking Hateful Eight, maybe something like that. I've not seen him in anything. I know he's done a lot of stuff. I just happen not to have seen any of it for whatever reason. And he's brilliant in it. He's absolutely, he's obviously a cold-hearted, ruthless killer, but he really understates it. And there's moments when he's reasonable, right? You know, he's when they first run into Fusion, and he's like, go and move that tree. You know, we're here to serve. And when he first goes to the camp with the performers, and he's talking to Vienna, played by Joanne Whalley, and that weird-looking guy with the scarf in his neck. He does seem kind of reasonable and, just looking for these people, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then just like, burn it, killer. I don't know whether to hang you or hire you, all this kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, his scene at the end, because all the way through the film, we realise that he's slowly bleeding to death from this sort of small but deep cut that Fusion managed to give him before he died. And like, I kind of got the sense that what he's trying to get across as Sugar Man is he's going after this gold, but he kind of knows that it's coming to an end. You know what I mean? And it's in the sort of expressions. It's the moments when he's by himself, when he sort of dispatches the gang. You do this, you do that, and then he, you know what I mean? He has this, the sort of the size and the way that he just looks out and stuff like that. And I just got the feeling that he wants us to think that Sugarman knows that he's going to die, but he'll be fucked if he doesn't get this gold before he dies. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's really good. It's a great performance.
Yeah, it is. It's a really great performance. Tim Roth's always great. I mean, his second appearance on the Culture Swally as well. Was appearing in Rob Roy. But I've always liked Tim Roth. I think from, around, Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, probably. I remember becoming obsessed with Tim Roth. So I think I've told the story before. I remember reading an article in Sky magazine, an interview with Tim Roth, must have been around about that time. And says, he coolly comes in and puts his pack of Marlboro Lights on the table and lights one up. Next time I went to the shop, I bought a pack of Marlboro Lights instead of my Benson and Hedges. And that was it. I smoked Marlboro Lights until the day I stopped smoking, because of Tim Roth. Yeah. A great performance, though. He's so good. And it reminded me of that line. That just sums up Roth. He's so funny, but so serious and menacing. But when he says to the kid, I don't know whether to hang you or hire you. It just breaks that tension a little bit. But you really genuinely believe he's like, did I kill this kid? Or did I? He's pretty good, but...
It's not here, Sugar.
I am torn between hanging you and hiring you. Right now, I'm leaning towards hanging you.
I absolutely loved, though, the fact that you see early on that he's injured. And you're thinking, okay, and you kind of forget about it. Because the flashback, he's not injured. And then when Tornado's dad manages to inflict that wound on him, you're like, of course, that's where, yay. You're kind of cheering, but also the realization of where it's come from. But that's brilliantly done. Really, really well done. I like that part a lot. And yeah, I get he is the leader of the gang, and you're kind of wondering what the dynamic is here, because obviously there's tension between him and his son, Jack Lowden's character, Little Sugar. And you're wondering, Little is just obviously pissed off that he's doing a lot of the work and the money's getting divided up equally between everyone, and he thinks that they don't deserve it. And it's like, okay, but what was his plan? Like, he's seen the money being hidden. He's not telling them. He knows he's going to go after the money himself. Like, was he planning to just get the money and then fuck off and become like a 1700s renting? Like,
if I don't know, maybe
ripping off his mates.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he's just choosing life. Yeah, I mean, he's trying to get away from his dad, right? But what I will say about Jack Lowden in this is he looks cool as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, his costume, you know, he's tall, Jack Lowden, and you know, when he's sort of leaning against a tree, you know, he's kind of watching things, spotting things that other people are too stressed and frantic to notice, and he's just sort of sitting there with sort of one eye on what's going on. Yeah, and you know, that big long coat that they've got him in, and his gloves and boots and everything, he looks cool as fuck. And the thing is, for him, I mean, it's not really a massive part. Like, for all these guys, you know, like for Rory McCann, it's not a big part for him, really. Not, you know, it's not a big part for Jack Lowden, certainly. I mean, I'm sure his price is going up and up with every series of Slow Horses that Apple TV releases, you know. So, but you know, it's like that last scene with him and Tim Roth when he's captured Tornado, and he's making her take him. He's making her take him to where the gold is, and they run into Sugar and the other guys. And he decides that he's just going to kill his dad. But even though he's broken his arm, he's got his arm in a sling, he just goes for it. And Sugar Man doesn't think twice, does he? He just runs him through. Yeah. And that's it.
I mean, where's Kitten? Where's the gold? Oh, Little.
I think because, exactly as you say, because Little, played by Jack Lowden, looks so cool as fuck, and he's so handsome, and he's so charismatic as well, there is a part before he kind of recaptures Tornado and before he breaks his arm, I was kind of thinking along this, right, are they going to get the money and then somehow they'll be together and they'll have a chat and stuff and they'll end up shagging in the woods?
Right.
They're gonna. I wondered if that was, you know, the way it was gonna go down, because that's the way you would think a typical kind of Hollywood film would go down. You have a dashing kind of handsome man, part of the gang. He's misunderstood. He's wanting to get away from them to maybe get a new life and, I don't know, set up an ostrich farm in Fife or something. And you know, Tornado ends up going with him. But obviously, no, he is a bad man. And, you know, is dispatched with. And yeah, I just wondered if that was the way. But yeah, Jack Lowden, great in this as well. Really good. And I totally get what you're saying. And I was shocked when he died quite early. You know, it was like a surprise. Like, oh, okay. Wow. You know, it's better. Same with Kitten, Rory McCann. It was quite, oh, he's dead already. Okay. Yeah. I can kind of take that with Rory McCann. It's okay. You know, fine. He got a good bit of comedic value, but then of course he comes back because, you know, in the flashback. But I was quite shocked when Little died. Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, you know, considering it's you know, relatively low budget independent film. You know, the guys that have got in it, like most of the cast are, you know, well-known, successful actors. I mean, even I quite like Kôki, the girl that plays Tornado. I mean, she's quite a young actor. I was reading a bit about her. She went to the British school in Japan. Her parents are famous in Japan as well. And Takiro Hira is just he was in Disney Plus's production of Shogun I watched it. It was good, actually. And he's one of the leads in that. Obviously, Rory McCann is, ever since Game of Thrones, is internationally known. Tim Roth, Jack Lowden, even Joanne Whalley. We don't see her very often these days, but but still an accomplished and well-known actor. And it's cool that they've all kind of come together to do this independent film. Like, obviously, Tim Roth really kind of made his bones, if you like, in independent films, doing like Made in Britain with Alan Clark. And I watched one with him in it recently on YouTube as a play for today, him and Rhys Dinsdale, I can't remember what it's called, but they obviously both young actors, and they play two guys that are pretending to be policemen. They're driving around Sheffield or somewhere like that. It was good. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. I've got a vague recollection of that. I wonder if I've seen that or if I just read about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd have to watch that. Rhys Dinsdale's always good value.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Great.
But yeah, it's cool that like McLean's managed to get all these guys together. I mean, he's not made McLean hasn't made a film. This is the first film he's made in almost 10 years. The last film he made was Slow West, which again, he got a great cast for, like guys like Cody Spit McPhee and all that, like, well-known A-list stars. He obviously loves a Western, right?
Yeah, very much. But yeah, I think he got quite a lot of good acclaim for that previous film. So I think probably stick to what you're known for, I think would be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe he just loves a Western, you're right.
I mean, this was well received, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very well received. You know, I did read a couple of negative reviews on IMDb, but you know, they're a little bit ignorant in the way they were written, you know. Not really, it's very subjective. It's not a lot of balance in their review.
I do have some issues about the gold, though.
Okay.
The bags of gold. So first of all, the little kid stealing it when they're watching the puppet show. Oh, we need to come back to the puppet show, actually.
Oh, yeah.
But the little kid stealing the gold, nobody's going to hear that. When the men are dragging it through the woods, it's always making like a clanging noise.
Yeah.
Led to believe this kid has like managed to drag these two big bags of gold that the men are struggling with, and no one's going to hear him. I find that a little bit unbelievable. However, I can maybe take that. My second point is, how did the gold get up the tree? Now, obviously, was Tornado's dad.
Yeah.
But when did he do this?
I know when he did it. It's
before he gets stabbed, yeah?
Because she loses him for a minute, right?
Yeah.
She loses him, and she's like looking for him, and then he reappears just as Sugar and his gang reappear. So I assumed that that's when he's followed her when she's ran into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
With the gold. He's followed her, and he's somehow got it up a tree. Now, the biggest problem with the gold is that gold, I'm reliably informed, is heavy as fuck. Yeah. Like, really, really, really heavy. So, you know, the fact that Lazy Legs is fucking struggling with it, and he's a grown man, I'm not sure that Fusion is getting it up a tree, especially when it seems to be pretty far up a tree. Because we see Tornado up there cutting it down, don't we? And it looks like it's pretty high up.
And the two bags are tied together, so you've got to launch them both and get it perfectly over that branch, so they're saddled. That was a little bit unbelievable for me.
Just another mystery of the samurai, perhaps.
Yes, the way of the samurai. Yeah, and it was a bit gutting that Tornado threw it all in the lake and spits on it, but never mind. I guess she had her reasons for that.
She regrets doing that later on.
I'd imagine she probably does. But before all of that, we get to see the amazing puppet show, which it was fucking wonderful. I want to see more of that. I mean, quite gruesome for the time. I wonder if they did have the technology available for that in 1790 of being able to cut off arms and heads and have blood spurting out.
The Japanese have always been industrious, you know what I mean? Been a little bit ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to technology and mutilation.
So they walked so Jerry Anderson could run, is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, no, it's good. The puppet show is good. And of course, you've recently returned from a trip to Japan, and you're quite interested in a lot of facets of Japanese culture. So I am. I'm not surprised you enjoyed the puppet show.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it. It was really entertaining and thought it was good, and very violent for its time. So yeah, I liked that a lot. Nice part. And it kind of broke up a little bit of the film as well, and then you get to see what it is they actually do, and and of course it gives a nice little bit of backstory to the relationship, because you can tell that, you know, that show has underlying kind of themes of the the relationship between the father and daughter. So yeah, no, I thought it was really good. Really nice.
Yeah, I did wonder what Tornado goes on to do after the end of the film, because she, she goes off. She's got her sword and her tanto. She's got her dad's hat on. She's got a few gold coins in her purse. She's got a bit of bread that Joanne Wally's given her. I thought she was going to go and join up with the rest of the kind of performing troupe, but she goes off on her own, and it's and it's sort of left a bit ambiguous. Is she going to try and get back to Japan, or is she going to walk Scotland as a samurai protecting the weak?
The West Highland way as a samurai. The West Highland way of the warrior.
Yeah. Fighting injustice and standing up for the persecuted and the oppressed. I wonder if he's got a sequel in mind, John McClane, perhaps. It'd be interesting to see what she does.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I'd like to see a little bit more of what happens to her, because she is a character that, despite me saying there were a couple of times find her difficult to root for, but I was really invested in her as well, and cheering her on the last 20 minutes when she's dispatching of all the henchmen. Yeah. And yeah, it would be interesting to see what happens next. Where does she go? I mean, is it just like a kind of Incredible Hulk, Littlest Hobo vibe? She goes from town to town in Scotland to solve right wrongs and, solve little mysteries, just going through Scotland like a little tornado and fixing things. But I don't know, like just dispatching of gangs left, right and centre.
The other interesting sort of thing in this is that, so we've got Tornado and her dad, who are Japanese and who, they are accepted by the community, clearly, the community they live in. Even Sugar Man there's no racism towards the Japanese characters at any part in this film. It's perhaps the most unbelievable part of it, but there's none. And then, the strong man is French. There's a black member of Sugar's gang as well.
The very coolest member of the gang as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Completely dressed in black. And there's, it's obviously you and I weren't alive in the 1790s, but, I do wonder, it's, there's a fair bit of diversity. There was even some English characters in it, right? Alex McQueen, for example, his character he's speaking in that very distinctive voice that he has, that very distinctive sort of posh English voice that Alex McQueen has. But yet his daughters are Scottish because we hear them talking at the show. Some of Sugar's gang are Scottish, some aren't. Like Squid Lips is English, for example. So it is quite, he's asking us to sort of reckon with this quite diverse community, and it's like, well, I wonder, would Scotland have been that diverse back then? I mean, maybe it would have been more diverse than we perhaps assume it to be,
Yeah, I'd like to think it was, maybe. I think it's probably because people had bigger things to worry about at that time. I mean,
than being racist.
Yeah, no, but you know what I mean? Like, in a way.
Japanese coming over here, taking our jobs. I could have been doing that puppet show.
This could be the episode that gets us cancelled. But it's not like bigger things to worry about. Where your next meal's coming from, where you're sleeping for the night, where you're doing what you're doing for money, what you're doing to survive, rather than, whereas now everyone's got it so comfortable that's why they're becoming TERFs and Tories and all the evil things in the world and horrible racists and stuff like that. That's why. You can't believe some of the shit you hear nowadays in terms of that people come out with, especially now. I did listen to the Here Comes the Guillotine podcast. I think it was this week's episode. Susie McCabe says something she overheard at a gig, and she's like, what? And it was in the West End of Glasgow as well. And she does make a point. She was like, this was in the West End. She says, it's not as if it was like a bunch of Neds or something. This was businessmen saying these things. And you just wonder. So I think we were just a lot more accepting back in 1790, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's a sort of theory that a lot of this racism, this modern day racism. And the thing is, like, I remember as a kids and as a teenager and stuff, there were huge big initiatives against racism. Like Rock Against Racism is probably the most famous in the UK and all that sort of stuff. And there's a sort of school of thought that equates the sort of the fading away of the traditional working class. So there's, and because, there's not like industry in the same way that there was sort of 50 or 100 years ago in the UK, right? So it's like, well, now there's you don't have this working class anymore. You've got this sort of lower middle class. And it's exactly as you say, like a traditional working class person who perhaps works in the shipyard or on a fishing boat or whatever in Scotland, they wouldn't really care that much about where the person next to them was working. You know what I mean? It's when people equate immigration with the not being able to get a job, right? But the Jamaicans and the Indians were all brought to the UK after the Second World War because there wasn't enough people to do the fucking jobs because so many men were fucking slaughtered in Europe and in the South Pacific. So that was why they were brought in the first place. So it's not necessarily, it's not the case. And I think the traditional working class man, be it whether he was a miner or whatever, he's not going to care that the guy fucking down the pit next to him breathing poisonous fumes and, avoiding catastrophe every day is Japanese or fucking Jamaican or Indian or whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, you wouldn't be able to tell, would you? With all the seat in your face.
We're all black in the mine, But, I just think now, and the other problem is, if you had some extreme views 50 years ago, you would have to go and stand on a fucking box in a park and shout them and hope that, and hope that people agreed with you. And you would have to have a degree of education to do that. You know what I mean? You would have to know a bit about what you were talking about. Now, anybody can go on social media with any fucking outrageous claim or opinion, and there's so many fucking thickos in the world that they just believe everything they read. You know what I mean?
Is that why you got banned from Twitter, Greg, for your horrible, racist, misogynistic, homophobic views?
That's one of the reasons that I've deleted Twitter, but it's not the main reason, which I'll tell you after we stop recording. Okay. But I mean, like, you could go on Twitter and you could say, "Oh, fucking hell, Godzilla's fucking smashing up Amsterdam again. When is the Dutch government going to do something about these fucking super nuclear mutated lizards?" It's just absolutely ridiculous. People would believe it. There are people out there that would be like, "Yeah, I agree. It's absolutely ridiculous. These super lizards coming out of the water, coming out of the canals and smashing up hard-working Dutch people's houseboats." And there would be people that would, before you knew it, and you'd be reading it thinking, "Fucking hell, these people think that I'm being serious here."
Yeah, there'd be a demonstration at museums playing with people with placards like, kaiju out.
Kaiju out, big line through Godzilla's face, Yeah, and Godzuki, fucking, Anyway, well, the fact that we've just spent 5 minutes talking about the state of the world might suggest that Tornado has blown itself out a little bit. So, is it time to put the film through our Swally Awards?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I'll end by saying that I really enjoyed this film. I really did. There's a great film in here somewhere. It's a really good film, but there's a really great film in here somewhere. And I just can't work out. It's missing something for me. I don't know if it's because, as we said, ridiculously, is it because it's too short? Could have done with a little bit more backstory, a little bit more violence, a little bit more expansion,
a bit more scene setting,
I don't know. It just kind of felt like there was something missing, but I really enjoyed it overall, though. Really did.
I mean, there's a moment. I mean, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Really, I watched it twice, and if my wife wanted to watch it again tonight, I'd sit through it again. I really like it. But just going back to that lack of scene setting, there's a little moment when Sugar finds Kitten's body, and he's sort of like, Little's made a bit of a half-arsed attempt to bury him. I mean, he's buried his whole body but left his head sticking out, so it's a bit weird, but anyway, it's odd. But he sort of sits down and he's talking to the late Kitten, and he's like, this land would collapse if it wasn't for men like us. And I'm like, why do you think that? Because what is it about how you live your life that would make you think that. Because we don't get to know enough about the main characters. We don't get to know enough about Sugar. We don't get to know enough about how we know that they've probably, it sounds like they've stolen the gold from a church, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like just a bit more scene set and just like establishing the world that the action takes place in would have maybe it would maybe have helped a bit. But despite all that, I really enjoyed it. I loved it. It was great. Yeah. I haven't seen a good independent film that I've really enjoyed for a really long time. So, yeah. So, if you want to watch Tornado, get it on, you can rent it from Apple or Amazon. But it's probably on some of the streamers. Probably find it on. But if it's not now, it probably will be soon. But time for our Swally Awards. So the first award would usually be the Bobby the Barman Award for Best Pub. That all seems to happen in the countryside. No pubs. Unfortunately.
No pub.
The next award is our patron saint and party host James Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish.
I went with Jamie Mickey for this, nephew of your pal, John Mickey.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he plays the archer bandit, and he's been in a lot of Scottish stuff. A lot of it is a lot of stuff we've covered on the Swally. A lot of it he is man number 2 stuff like that. But yeah, I went with him. But it was a tight call between a couple of them. Who did you go for?
I went for Douglas Russell just because he seems to have, he's popped up in a few things lately. He's in what's it called? The one that's just on Netflix. Department Q. Yeah. He's in that. Obviously, he's been in one or two things that we've done. He's got like a well-travelled face, and he does Russell. Fucking hell, he looks like he had a right hard paper round.
And he's from Aberdeen as well. Good lad. Yeah.
Next award then is the Jake McQuillan Yertizu Award. Few options here.
Yeah, there are. What did you go with?
Well, just because it happens really unexpectedly, and I always try to choose something like that for this award. I went for when Sugar cuts Lazy Legs, mentioned by the aforementioned Douglas Russell's throat, because it just seems to come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's right at the start of the film, and you're like, oh, fucking hell. You know, what did you do that for? You know?
Yeah. I had that. Then I had, I guess as the film went on, then I had the puppet show, and I was like, oh, that was unexpected. But I ended up going with the sword in the tree, just because it was so unexpected. Or, like, you know, when she stabs him, I'm like, okay, that's him dispatched. And then, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I had to rewind it and watch it again. It was great. That was that really unexpected violence for me. It wasn't undeserved, but it was very deserved. But yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I think that's one of the cleverest things that McLean does with this. It's just the violence gets closer and closer to the camera. Next award then is the Hugh McGregor Award for Gratuitous Nudity. Obviously, too fucking cold. No one's taking all their clothes off in this film. You know what I mean?
No.
The only person who doesn't seem to feel the cold is Fusion, who's quite happy to rock the kimono with his the top part of his chest bared to the elements. Everybody else is fucking wrapped. Even Tornado herself. I mean, she must have been sweating absolute bullets. And all those furs and stuff running across the... And she doesn't seem to run... I was thinking to myself, she's not running very fast, but it's probably because she's fucking got all these like skins and stuff on. She's probably absolutely roasting.
Yeah, weighed down with those boots and things, yeah.
Next award then is the Francis Begbie Award for Gratuitous Language. I didn't catch anything for this. Neither I did.
There's one or two. The one that stood out for me, the one I laughed at, is Sugarman to Little. And he does say, if you cross me again, I will whip you until you are fucking raw. Yeah. And I really like that's when you need a fucking swear word in the sentence because it adds to it. There's a couple of other, I think, F-bombs, but nothing huge. And I think they're all from Tim Roth.
It's a nice bit. It's a nice bit of Tim Roth swearing. He's good at swearing. Tim Roth, isn't he? He's a good swearer.
He is a very good swearer.
Next award then is our archetypal Scottish moment.
I mean, I know it's a cop out. I went with the scenery and the landscape. It's just Scotland. It's incredible because it can look so beautiful and awesome and so bleak at the same time. There's some
weather, right?
parts, it's just like, fucking hell, that looks rough. But other times you're like, oh, it looks so beautiful. So I just went with the Scottish scenery and landscape, really. A bit of a cop-out, but there was no Tennant's ashtrays or anything lying around for me to pick, so I went with that. What did you go for?
Well, there's a moment where we touched on it earlier when Tornado, when the puppet show is finished and she goes around with her tin collecting donations, and there's a moment where somebody throws obviously a fairly tight small donation into the tin, but you can tell by the expression in Tornado's face, and I thought, sort of stereotypal Scottish miserliness there, perhaps.
Must have been an Aberdonian.
Yeah, maybe. And then our final award is the Sean Connery Award. Who wins Tornado for you?
For me, it's Kôki.
Oh,
it's
really?
her film.
Interesting.
I did a massive shout out to Takahiro Hira as Fujin, who I thought was fantastic and I would like to have seen more of. But, I could give it to him, but yeah, I give it to Kôki. What did you go for?
I did think I'd give it to her because I did like her and I thought she was really good. There's a moment when she, can't remember, I think it's when she's sort of shouting at the wee boy or something like that, or she's sitting around with her dad, but I did think to myself, just when I heard her accent, I thought, you might have spent a little bit too much time in Scotland shooting this film because just when she was being angry, there was just a little sort of Celtic inflection that kind of penetrated her Japanese accent. But I thought she was fantastic, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she does next. I thought she's such a great actor. But for me, it was Roth. I just thought he's just so good in it.
Yeah.
Just like he can convey a lot, Tim Roth, without saying a lot. You know what I mean? I just feel like he's a guy he knows exactly how he looks when he expresses himself and stuff. He doesn't have to say things sometimes, and I just thought he was really good in it. And maybe it's because I hadn't seen him in anything for a long time, and like you, I was always a fan of him. Maybe that sort of biased me a little bit toward him, but I thought he was excellent in it. I really did.
He does have a wonderful face that just conveys like the expression of almost like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
yeah. Because I don't think he's a very tall guy. I mean, no. Jack Lowden's obviously tall, and Rory McCann is very tall. So he's sort of dwarfed by those two guys in the scenes that he's in. But maybe because he's great at being fucking menacing, and maybe it's because of his height. He just he knows that he can't rely on being imposing, because he's not like a big man. So he's gonna show what an imposing, dangerous man he is in other ways. And so yeah.
I can confirm Tim Roth is 5'8".
The same height as my dad. So there you go.
So he's decent size. But yeah, does convey. I know exactly what you mean. He's a scary guy.
He's scary.
A little kind of guy, but yeah, you wouldn't want to cross him. Without a doubt.
No, for sure. Anyway, so as I mentioned, Tornado, probably quite easy to get your hands on. It only came out, I think, in the spring of this year. So it's you might even find the odd sort of small art house cinema showing it. You never know in your neighbourhood. But you can definitely rent it off Apple if all else fails. So, Tornado was my choice, which means it falls to you to pick the next episode's show or movie. So what are we watching? Well,
a couple of the actors and stars that we'll be discussing next week have already been mentioned on the podcast, Greg. So
really?
It's been well over a year since we visited our wee pals. So I thought it was time we rectified that. So with the news that there's going to be a Christmas special this year and a stage show next year, I thought it was a fitting time to catch up with the residents of Latimer Crescent and have a look at Two Doors Down. However, we have already looked at the pilot and we did look at the first series. So logic would dictate we'll do series 2. No. We're going to skip to series 3.
Okay.
Because that is the first series where Gordon replaces Jazz. And I thought series 3's got a couple of fucking classic episodes in it, including the one where Eric has his colonoscopy.
My favorite episode.
Yes. So I thought that would ease us into the festive period. There's 6 episodes. However, there is it's actually the Christmas special before series 3 is the introduction of Gordon. So I'd like to start with that. So it's like 7 episodes in total, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So on the next episode of the podcast, Series 3 of Two Doors Down.
Cool.
Wonderful. Okay. Right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. And I hope you enjoyed us discussing Tornado. If you'd like the show, then give us a little rating, review, subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can email us, cultureswally@gmail.com, if you've seen anything in the news you'd like us to cover, if you have any Scottish films or TV shows you'd like us to cover, or if you just want to say hello. And we have a wonderful website as well, don't we, Greg?
We do. You can find us at cultureswally.com with links to all our episodes, links to our socials. If you do write to us on Twitter, it'll be Nikki that responds, won't be me. And
won't be me. I'm never on Twitter. I don't think I've even got the app installed anymore.
Yeah, and some blog posts and features Scottish pop culture. So pop over, give us some traffic.
Fantastic. Right, you got a lot of tennis planned this weekend? Well, tomorrow.
Yeah, tennis tomorrow. Tennis, then paddle. And then try and get a couple of games in next week. Yeah, stay active. Try and get back running again.
I feel terrible. I need to do something. I haven't been able to run for a couple of months because my knee has given me jip. I've been seeing a physio about it, but I don't know what's going on. It's still fucking sore, so I can't run. I can't do anything. I'm just feel like I'm just so. I need to do something. There's only so much wanking you can do to burn off the fat, so I need to see what else I can do.
I know. You end up going a funny shape. So it's kind of leaning to the right a bit more, you know.
I know. It's ridiculous. Like I've negated. Like it's been what? It was 12 weeks today. I think I gave up booze, and I'm not seeing any of the benefits of it because I'm not exercising. Right. So I'm eating fucking loads, and so I kind of just balancing out that. I'm not seeing any benefits. So bit of a pain in the arse, but never mind. We'll get there. I need to get my Dubai body on because I'll be there six weeks today. Actually, I leave. So fuck. I better get started. Okay. I'm off to go and pound out some calories. Till next time, buddy.
Till next time.
Open curtains. I am Tornado. I am a samurai. I come to avenge you. No. I come to destroy you.